Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here playing some more Warhammer combat cards. In this video, I'm going to be discussing a major change that will be occurring to the upgrade tree, and that is coming to the game soon. The developers just did a live stream where they previewed these changes, so I can't actually show you images of them, but I can talk about what is going to happen. And it is a pretty exciting change. The one downside is it's not actually going to affect all players evenly, and it's going to be much more impactful for players who have their cards at higher levels, specifically max level. But there are two parts to the change, and the first change that is going to take place will actually affect all of the cards in the game, and what they're doing is they're actually going to add an additional level right before the current max level of the card. So we're looking at the Turvagon here. It's a rare card, and the current max level is Sonic Blast. This is the trait level 4 upgrade. So they're going to actually insert an additional upgrade in between this health upgrade and the trait upgrade here. But it's going to be a new type of upgrade. I think they were calling it the Omni upgrade, where it actually upgrades all of the stats of the card. Currently there is no such upgrade in the game, so it is a new type of upgrade, and depending on how many attack types the card has, it will increase all of those values by a different amount. So that is pretty interesting. What they're also doing though with this is it still takes the same number of copies to upgrade your card to the current max level of the final level of the trait here. However, because there is another upgrade being added, the total number of copies needed to make each of those upgrades between trait level 3 and trait level 4 will be reduced. So currently you can see here for this rare card I need 35 copies to upgrade it to the next level. But once that update hits, I will need less copies to make that upgrade and to make each of these upgrades. So this change will affect all players who have their cards beyond trait level 3, essentially. Like all of these other earlier upgrades will remain unchanged. You'll still need the same number of copies, but for these, you'll need less copies for each individual upgrade. Okay, does that make sense? Now the next part of the change is the more exciting one, and it affects only epic and legendary cards. And what they're doing is they're actually going to be adding an additional set of upgrades beyond the current max level. So right now the upgrade tree just ends right here with trait level 4. What is going to happen is epic cards are going to get 2 additional upgrades, unlocking a secondary trait. So they will become dual trait cards. And then legendary cards will also be upgrading that secondary trait, but they will actually be able to upgrade it all the way to the max level, like 4 additional upgrades beyond this point. And each of those upgrades will require much fewer cards. So it is feasible for people, or for players who have their cards at max level currently. But again, it is only going to be accessible once you have reached, once your cards have reached the current max level, which means it's only going to affect really the top 1% of players in the game. Like, I've been playing this game ever since it was first released 3 years ago. I've been playing consistently pretty much every day, and I still have no cards that are at max level, except for Eisenhorn, and he is, of course, an exception there. But yeah, I think the closest card I have to max level is, I believe, Abaddon. Just need 5 more copies to get him to the max level. But yeah, so I mean, if that gives you an idea of the amount of time you need to put into this game to get your cards to max level, it's really, unfortunately, most players are not going to be able to use or see these dual trait cards in action unless you face a player who has them in ranked mode. Now, there is one way that they can make it more accessible to lower ranking players, and that is through explorations, which they've been doing more, where they allow all players to use their cards at the max level. So for those, like special events, you might be able to use some of those dual trait cards. So in the stream, they did preview a number of these dual trait cards, and it was pretty fun to see them in action. And like that, the amount of possibilities out there. Like, you know, everyone is going to be getting like a different combination of traits. So yeah, it does open up a whole lot of new strategies. Take, for example, they did show Logan Grimnar. Currently he has Furious Charge, but his secondary trait, I think, will be Berserk, which is pretty crazy. I think Mazrog actually gets the flip side. He has Berserk, but then his secondary trait will be Furious Charge, which also triggers his special rule, giving him an additional 10% of his health on deployment. So yeah, if they combos with the special rule of the Warlord, it can be pretty crazy. Some of the other ones that they previewed, they didn't show too many cards, but I think the Incarn here, pretty crazy. It has regeneration. I think they're going to be giving it Endless, so it can come back to life after the first time it's destroyed, which is pretty insane. The Great Unclean one, the secondary trait will be Poison, so it's both regenerating and poisoning enemies at the same time, which is pretty nuts. The Keeper Secrets, which is already one of the strongest cards in the game, that one will get Outflank, which is a little less crazy, but still, even with just Fear at the max level, this thing is insanely powerful. So those are just a few of the previews that they showed in the live stream. Of course, once this update goes live, I will be looking at it more in detail and actually be able to show you images of everything. But let me know what you think of these changes, both the additional Omni upgrade they're adding, which will in effect reduce the number of copies you need for each of these upgrades in the latter part of the upgrade tree, and also the dual traits that will be available only for epic and legendary cards. Let me know what you think of these changes in the comments, and any questions or concerns you may have about how they'll affect the game balance. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.